Episode 159, Embracing Fear in Your Wedding Business. This Week in Weddings is a support group for wedding industry entrepreneurs. We're the ones behind the scenes, planning and designing the event, arranging the flowers, creating the invitations, or taking the photographs for a couple's most important day ever. No pressure. If you've been in the wedding industry for more than a minute, you know it's not all cake and confetti. Running a wedding business is hard, and it's certainly not for the faint of heart. This Week in Weddings is where we catch up on this often crazy but amazing industry and share tips on how to be a better business owner, all while supporting each other along the way. You're listening to This Week in Weddings with Kimberly Rhodes and Annie Roach. Hi guys, I'm Kimberly Rhodes, owner of Hitched Events.
And I'm Annie Roach, owner of 5x7 Designs.
Welcome back to This Week in Weddings.
Welcome.
Hello, friends.
I feel like we should do our calming radio voices.
I know. I feel like
calming.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's all you can do is be calm these days.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, I think the big thing for me is, and this is a great transition to our topic, but just this fear of the unknown.
Yeah.
I think all of us, especially you, me, Kimberly, we are like type A people. Like we're fixers and like we like to fix it. But we usually have like an end date or like an end goal where right now we just don't really know what's going to happen. There's the fear of the unknown.
Well, it is weird just to be like, yep, this might end tomorrow or in 5 months.
Might be Easter. It might be end of April. It might be
right
2025.
Yeah.
We don't know.
It's true. It's a lot. But we're talking about fear. Not really fear of COVID, but just fear in business.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is a great
And I feel like right now we all have fear.
We all have fear because there's a fear of the unknown and your fear, like if you're going to need to pivot with your job and with your business, if you're going to have to adapt to, well, we're already adapting to working from home.
Yep.
If we're going to have to maybe put new services out there, no longer meeting with people.
If you're going to have to adapt to being a full-time teacher for your child.
Yeah. You're going to have to adapt and be a stripper. I don't know. There's
everybody's got to pivot.
I don't know.
Well, our guest today is a photographer. And what's so interesting is I met Chris at Take a Drink, Engage, and he said he was like, oh, I have a great idea for a topic, which is embracing fear, because he moved across the country as part of his business. It had nothing to do with coronavirus when we scheduled him. But now it's like, oh, well, since we're talking about fear, the time could not be any more appropriate.
That's perfect timing. Yeah. I mean, there's lots of fears. There's fear of change, which we're all embracing that now. Fear of failure, fear of should I invest in anything in my business right now, or should I keep my cash flow stagnant? I mean, lots of fear.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know if I have any answers to any of those things.
Hopefully Chris does, or at least we can kind of talk through it.
I do feel like, though, in business, okay, I'm going to give you a little bit of a pep talk that I would give myself.
Ooh, let's go.
Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
So I would say my biggest fear in life is fear of failure. That's just who I am as a human. I never want to not do a good job. And Annie, I think you're the same way.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I also think, because I've said that to people before, and they're like, but you're an entrepreneur. You have to be embracing of that to be an entrepreneur. And I'm like, I guess so. I mean, that in and of itself is just taking a huge risk. So I guess my pep talk is, we have before embraced this fear. You know what I mean? We've embraced the fear of just starting something new or whatever. It's just, we've done it before. We can do it again.
But I'm the type of person and I've even talked about this. I fear failure so much that I don't risk. Yeah, I only trying new things. I know that I'm going to excel at.
Yeah. But I think, the fact that that is half the battle.
Yeah. But I would never take up, I don't know, field hockey, because I know I'm not good at that. But I'll take up, I don't know, basket weaving, because I know I'll be good at that.
Yeah. That is an interesting, psychological experiment, I feel like.
Yeah. And also I think I've been thinking, I don't think I've truly ever failed at something.
Yeah, but you know what though? Like whoever they is, like every business book I read is like all of the super
Yeah,
successful people in life
totally
have
failed.
totally failed a million times. And it's
Yeah,
like they've embraced the like, I'm just gonna try this and see what happens.
yeah.
And
I
like
mean,
the people who play it safe might have some level of success, but like
right.
the uber successful people are the what's the chick's name who made Spanx? Like who I think
Oh,
is so
Sarah
amazing.
Blakely.
Sarah Blakely. She just was
Hmm.
like, I have this idea and I'm just gonna go for it.
Hmm. Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know if I'm helping.
yeah. Maybe we're just gonna get out there. I'm not perfect. There's like I've had little failures, things like stupid things, but like in terms of big things that I've committed to or invested time or money in, I've never failed. I've never gone bankrupt. I've never,
No, but I think those are like extremes.
yeah,
Like going bankrupt is an extreme.
yeah. But I mean, a
But
lot of
there's
business
been plenty of
owners,
things that you've been like, I've tried this and like, meh, it's not that great.
yeah, bangs, tried that, wasn't great.
Well, you know,
Lots of
I've
diets.
I I have failed at a diet or two.
The keto diet miserably failed on that one.
This COVID-19 freshman 15 situation
Yeah.
is no bueno.
I think it was Michelle Loretta put that on her Facebook. It's just like I'm glad that we're all embracing carbs again.
Yeah, problem though. It's a problem. Well, let's talk about our guest, shall we?
Yeah.
Chris J. Evans is a luxury wedding and destination photographer who creates photographs you not only see but truly feel. His images transport you back to the very instant they were created. That cool breeze fluttering the back of your neck, the warmth of your soulmate's embrace, this is his art. Chris has photographed weddings in Italy. Oh, that makes me sad. Oh, okay. Chris has photographed weddings in Italy, Santa Barbara, Laguna Beach, Maui, Oahu, Kauai, and Lana'i with features in Brides, Martha Stewart, The Knot, Destination I Do, and Wedluxe. Let's welcome to the show, Chris Evans. Chris, welcome to the podcast.
Hello, team. How are you guys?
Great. We're just
We
living our best coronavirus life.
We're fearful, Chris. We're fearful. We need your help.
Well, I'm here for you. It's not.
Oh, Lord. Well, we always ask all of our guests to tell us their kind of backstory and how you got into the wedding industry. So before we dive into fear, tell us how you got into the wedding industry. Give us your story.
For sure. So I'm Chris J. Evans. Fell into weddings by chance. Girlfriend of ours asked us to shoot her wedding. This was 10 years ago in Kauai. And it just sort of kick-started this lifelong love for this industry and servicing amazing couples, and now getting to travel, and 3 weeks of nothing lately, but that's another story. But getting to travel all over
Traveling
the
to your
world.
kitchen and traveling to your
Exactly.
backyard.
Exactly. But it got to kickstart this amazing career where I've gotten to serve so many beautiful couples and watch so many love stories go down, and it's just incredible.
So, Chris, were you living in Hawaii at the time?
So I was living in LA and I was doing fashion and editorial photography then. My wife and I kind of had enough of the rat race on the mainland, so we decided to move to Paradise and see where that would take us. And then, it started. There's so many weddings in Hawaii, and I was on Maui particularly. So it just, once I did that first wedding for my friend, I put those pictures onto Facebook, and then it just started to snowball. Friends from work asked me to their wedding, and then wedding planners, and then it just all kind of, it was like 10 weddings deep. And I was like, okay, I guess I got to be a wedding
I
photographer
guess
now.
this is a thing.
Yeah. So,
And when was that? Like, what years are we talking about?
so
This all started?
2010 is when I moved to Maui. And then I did my first wedding in 2011. It was like the end of 2011. And then by the end of 2013, I'd already done about 20 weddings.
Yeah,
And then that's when I officially started my business and just kicked into high gear.
that's awesome. And okay, today we're talking about embracing fear. I feel
Yeah.
like there's a lot of fear right now in the wedding world.
Yes, I think just in the world at large, but basically what I've sort of tried to take from this is how can we turn fear into something that scares us and keeps us from living our best life and pursuing our dreams, and how do we turn it into our core motivator? How do we flip it, and instead of okay, if I'm scared of failing, for example, then I just need to do extra prep on this. Or if I'm afraid of other people not liking my work, well, then I need to really do my homework on what people want and try to deliver. It's always taking what scares you learning from it, and then being able to output it in a way that's going to be successful for you?
Like, I would say for me, fear of failure is like my biggest fear in life.
Oh yeah.
Like, for like hands down. Well, not, I mean, like fear of death. Like, I don't want to die anytime soon. But like, I just have this like intense fear of failing. And it's like from my childhood, I guess. I'm sure some psychologists would say it's because of my childhood. But like, I've always wanted to like succeed and like be great. You know what I mean? Which anyone in business who's like super successful, like all the uber successful people are like fail early, fail often. And that's how you become successful.
Yeah. Like, and we've talked about that too. Like I'm the same, Kimberly, where I like, and I'm to the point of, I feel fear of failure so much where I only do things I know I'm going to succeed at. Like I don't put myself out there to like, I'm not going to go out there and try, I don't know, ballroom dancing because I know I'm not a good ballroom dancer.
But Annie, you've gotten better at it because you just did your comedy showcase. Okay, so listen, Annie, in case you guys don't know, listeners, Annie just did a comedy class. How long was it? Like 8 weeks, 6 weeks?
8 weeks, yeah. Mm-hmm.
8-week comedy class, and then had to do like a comedy showcase.
Oh my gosh.
But I'm already funny as shit, so I knew I was going to succeed. You know?
Well, okay. I was trying to help you out here.
You know, like I didn't take like, you know, dramatic creative writing class, you know, like because I knew like I wasn't going to be good at that, but I knew that I was somewhat funny, so I thought I knew I wasn't going to fail. I might not be, you know, the next. Might not get a Netflix special, comedy special.
You never know. You never know.
You know, fingers crossed. Call me. But I knew that I would probably succeed, or at least do good.
You weren't like worried you were going to embarrass yourself.
Yeah,
that's good. But you know, I think like, you know, to segue back, I think like fear of failure of like anything, I think that fear is actually, it is that driving motivator instead of something that keeps you scared from doing what you want. It's that main like fire that ignites in you that says, this is why I'm not going to fail. You know, and that's why it's like flipping that relationship with fear as opposed to something to be scared of. It's something to empower you.
Yeah. I still like that feeling of uncomfortable. Like I know a lot of people thrive off that, and that's almost like a fear, like that just that feeling of being unstable, or that feeling of just not being totally secure. That scares me.
Yeah,
it's the resistance. Have y'all read that book, The War of Art?
No, it sounds amazing.
Yeah. Okay, I'll link to it in the show notes. It is okay. Well, here's a funny story. When I was working with a business coach, I'm not anymore, but you know, coronavirus makes you cut some expenses.
Budget cuts.
Budget cuts.
Lots of cuts.
Okay, here's a funny story. She has suggested The War of Art, which is a book all about like holding back, and they call it the resistance, but like why you don't push yourself, why you hold back, why you make excuses about not doing things, blah, blah, blah. She told me that I should read that book. I thought she said The Art of War, which is
a book. Like I think
that one I read in college. Yes.
Yeah. So I first got The Art of War and was like, I wonder why she wanted me to read this. You know. And then she said it again, and she was like, The War of Art. And I was like, ooh, that's totally not what I bought. So now I own both. And The War of Art is basically all about like being a creative and creating things, and why we hesitate and hold back. Like whether or not it's like, I want to write a book, let's just say as an example, and you always are making excuses why you're not actually moving it forward. And it's all about like the fear of it, and like the fear of being judged, and the fear of failure, and all of those things. Anyway, I'm going to link to it. It's a really good book.
Sounds awesome.
The resistance. Yeah. It's all about the resistance.
I'm a big fan of the resistance, especially these days.
Yeah. So, Chris, like, I mean, I would assume, like, when we're talking about fear for you in particular, like the first one that relates to business is just like, I'm going to start a business in the first place.
For sure. So, you know, like for me, it happens so organically. Like it just, I was waiting tables at the time at this really like the best place on Maui. So like I was secure there, you know, and I was living a really simple life. So when I started doing weddings, it was just like, okay, now here's an extra, like, you know, maybe it's $500 this week. Maybe it's an extra 1,000. whatever it wasn't something in the beginning it wasn't like a mandatory to my livelihood. These were just extra
But you
sort of,
did take that like leap and that jump to
for sure.
to move out of state, to move across the ocean, I think that was
Yeah.
your first
Well,
fear
that
jump
was the
there.
first one, definitely. And at the time, so prior to that, I was a musician. I was in bands. I was doing guitar lessons for like 10 to 12-year-old kids all through like Manhattan Beach where we were living. And my wife owned a luxury hair salon. So like we were like, I was just kind of doing my thing, and moving there. I wasn't really, it was unknown because I was leaving all my friends and leaving like, the job that I had, and definitely a lot of unknowns, but we went into it just like, hey, this is a new adventure for our family. We're going to get a reset. We're going to get to like invent ourselves, which, we don't really get too many times in our grown life, really in our life at all, to reinvent ourselves. So yeah, that was definitely the first sort of fear we conquered. And we just went into it as a team and knowing that if it didn't work out, we'd move back. But, if it did, we'd get to live this really awesome low key life for a little while. So having like my amazing wife at my side, I think definitely helped harness a lot of that fear because we were in it together.
Side
Yeah.
note, I missed hair salons, luxury hair salons. Miss those.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But see, I am also money motivated, and also miss money. Side note.
What is this money?
Tell me more about this.
Tell me about money.
I know. I feel like I'm like on a barter system now. I'm like, I will barter with anybody. I will trade you a pair of shoes for some toilet paper. Come on. But like that, because I'm such a money motivator, I fear of losing money. Is I like just like the moving calculations, like I just like have this Excel spreadsheet going in my head of like loss of profits, like that's constantly going on in my head, and that's definitely fear.
I think, it's once we get to a point where our money does come from just one source, like, so example, like I went from the restaurant. So like, as I was building weddings, I wasn't fearful of not having weddings because for me, it was just extra, right? It wasn't,
Right.
it wasn't until it was like full-time job where things have to get like much more serious of like, okay, if I don't book 3 jobs, well, then I'm not going to pay the bills. And that spirals into its whole kind of thing. So, once I decided to make the move full time, it was really a pragmatic decision. And I was like, it was that last month, it was February of 2016 that I went full time. And when I did it, I had that whole year, I had about 55 weddings booked already that year.
That is a lot of weddings.
Well, Maui's crazy because it's always a weekend. It's vacation,
Yeah.
7 days a week. So I did my biggest year I ever did. I did 117 weddings in
Oh my gosh.
2017,
That makes me really tired.
and it was wild. It was a rip roaring good time, but when I did leave the restaurant, there was the fear because now I'd have to cover my own health insurance, and it was all going to be on me. No one's handing me like just show up to your thing and leave, and here's a paycheck. So, for me, I harnessed the fear by when to go full time was when I had that level of pre-bookings already. And I knew that once I'm there, no one could really take that away from me if I just kept doing good work and just kept the ball rolling.
Okay, Chris, fast forward for us because like you were in Maui doing like 100 something events a year, but now you're not in Maui. So tell us about that. Because I'm assuming that's a whole nother like embracing fear and just like going for it situation.
Yes. So Maui was amazing. 10 years in the wedding industry there. Shot over 500 weddings in that time. Not only there, but Italy and California and a lot of great places. So for me, I got to a point where I had reached the peak of where I could go professionally if I stayed there. I wasn't going to be booking like the volume of international destination events being the guy from Maui. It's just, I don't think it was really going to happen. I had to be in more of a major market. And I needed like, Maui's gorgeous. It's amazing, but it's really limited in the venues when you're a wedding pro there. Cause I was just, my lap would consist of about 5 venues. They're all gorgeous and amazing. I'm happy so happy to shoot there every time, but my portfolio wasn't getting any deeper with different places and locations. So about 2 years ago, my wife and I decided that we were going to move back to California, be close to our family too, so our girls could see their grandparents more, and just more opportunities, I think, education and culture and things like that.
Side note, also miss grandparents right now too.
Right? Miss them.
Babysitters.
Miss them.
Miss them. Miss them.
Yeah. So we put the plan into place that we were going to come back, and this is where I was going to expand my career and take it to like the next level. So it started 2 years ago. It was Operation Wedding Planner Reach Out. It was just shooting hundreds of emails out all the time, and all my California planners, hi guys, you got those emails and follow-ups. Thank you. And it was a slow process, but as we know in weddings, like I link up with coordinator A. She's like, I love you. I want to work with you. It's going to be great. Her whole year is already booked, so it's planting seeds for the following year. So that's why I started so long ago. And so every time I'd come out to California, I'd just be setting up meetings. I was building these relationships. So instead of a mindset of, oh, I was just going to hop on a plane and go and then start from scratch, I'd already been building this relationship to mitigate those fears far, far in advance. And then, every opportunity that came up, even while I was there, even if it was like a 1 hour shoot or engagement shoot or a client, I would hop on a plane, and whether it was profit or no profit, I was investing in where I wanted to be and where I was going to end up. So I made it work and tried to mitigate the fears that way with a lot of prep and investment before the move.
Yeah. I think there's also something to be said. Annie, you're going to be like, oh, that's way too woo-woo for me. But I feel like there's something to be said for like an abundance mindset and not like a scarcity. Like the fear of not having enough money is like the scarcity mindset versus feeling like there's always going to be enough and more than enough. There's more than enough business to go around. Yeah. It is like super woo-woo. But I do believe that
it's 100% true.
Helps.
No, for sure. Because, I made these decisions saying, okay, if I'm here on Maui, I'm in this small market and I'm doing X amount of work. And really there, I work with about 5 or 6 like core planners. So I was like, okay, if I can move to a new market in California and get 5 or 6 planners, I don't need 100. I don't need 1 million. I can sustain my career. I can do great things. So instead of thinking of like, oh, there's so much more competition or there's so much more of this, I looked at it as there's so much more opportunity. So I just tried to harness it that way.
So, okay, coming back to like where we are right now in the world, because I feel like embracing fear in your business when it's just like, trying something new or, whatever it might be 2 months ago is kind of different than maybe the fear we all are having now as business owners. Yeah. I don't know if you have any tips about that. Because like literally it's like, at least for me, I can only speak for myself. Like my cash flow overnight completely changed.
Yeah.
And there's something to be said for having fear about that. No matter how much of a good, like, oh, I want to have a good mindset about it, it's still challenging.
You can't pay your mortgage with mindset.
No. Right. Unfortunately we cannot. But I think it's the ability to like take this time and how do we pivot? There's always opportunity in times of change. Always. So it's just got to figure out.
But Chris, I'm not good at anything else.
You're an amazing comedian. So we're going to do our Zoom comedy hours. We're going to do our Zoom comedy hours, work on gratuity. It's going to be perfect.
Oh, I love this.
Annie. I was actually asked to do a Zoom happy hour the other day, and it made me so nervous, but maybe I should say yes. No, not a happy hour,
a comedy hour.
I was asked to do one, but
like a stand-up?
Yeah.
On Zoom?
Yeah.
I got 5 on it, girl. I got 5 on it. Let's do it.
You should do it, girl.
For sure. We'll get some lights,
honestly,
wardrobe.
This is the best time. People are so effing bored. Yeah. It's like, you don't even have to be that funny.
Yeah.
Content is king right now. So you know what it is? It's finding the pivot in these opportunities. So one of the things I'm doing to pivot right now is I've invested in there's these really cool new like webcast cameras that are these all-in-one, super high quality. So as soon as we can start rocking again, I'm going to be providing these amazing like multi-camera live casts for my clients, even if it's just bride and groom and an officiant. Well, now we can broadcast it to everybody. It's utilizing
That's awesome.
skills I already have, utilizing the things I'm already good at, and now providing added value in the current change in the time, and that's the like where things can pivot. I know, like, for example, people making masks now, that was like the first pivot. If you were on that like a month ago with like the best cute little face mask, you'd be like pretty stoked right now. So
Yeah.
it's like, it's finding the opportunities in times of change where you can pivot within the things that you already believe that you know how to do the best. It's not like I need to like read 20 books and become a master of something I've never done before. It's what do you already do and how can you just tweak it a little bit and embrace it.
What's very interesting to me as I'm sitting here and thinking about it is that this is the time where if you were going to pivot in some way, it's like you don't have time to overthink it, if that makes sense. It's kind of like the early bird gets the worm kind of situation where, like, if you have an idea, you just have to go for it because you don't have – things are changing so quickly every day. It's like if you overthink it, which is what my tendency to do in life is, then it's like you've like kind of missed the boat.
It's hard. I kind of had a little bit of a low on Friday night, and was kind of talking it out with my husband, like, what am I gonna do? I'm too chubby to be a stripper. I can't work the pole. Like, what am I gonna do? How am I gonna make money? It's just like, what are we gonna do? And it's just hard, also because we are in the service industry and we are in the event industry, and events are going to be the last thing that reopen. And a lot of times, if we are going to pivot, I mean, a lot of people in terms of budget cuts, like they cut services first. So it's like, and also like, I guess like, what do I make a product? Like, what do I do? Because it's really hard to sell. It's really hard to sell a service right now too. I don't know. That's just that was my deep, dark Friday night.
Did you get out of the Friday night tantrum, or like, did David have any like helpful advice to help get out of the
ice
funk?
cream? I had some ice cream.
I mean, it's understandable.
I've had some ice cream lately.
I mean, it's I'm a mom, so I kind of like I had to like put my happy face on Saturday and Sunday and do it. But like I'm scared shitless right now. I mean, I'll admit it. I'm scared, and I also don't have. I guess I don't really have a leg to stand on because I have a husband. Like, I mean, I have a husband. He. Like if I don't make any money, like
you're not going to be homeless.
Like, I'm not going to be homeless. Like my husband still can pay the mortgage. We still have savings. I still lucky that I had a successful business where I've got months of business savings, and I'm still I'm still paying my one employee. But it's I am scared because also money is my motivator, and I feel money makes me successful. And right now I don't feel successful.
So you know what? I agree. And I'm so empathetic to everything you just said.
I'm bringing you down my rabbit hole. I'm sorry, guys.
Well, no.
No, this is good.
Here's how it went for me this year.
I'm sure other people are feeling exactly the same way.
Yeah. I had looked at this year. This was going to be a transition year. My last 10 years in business have been growth years, year after year. I'm not tooting my horn, but it's been year after year has been growth. So my success has always been created in my own head by, growth, 20% more than last year, 30% more than last year. It was growth. That was my main
I think, Annie, you're the same way. Yeah, like you've been like, I look at the numbers, and if my numbers are better, then I feel good.
And then for this year, I knew that, this was going to be a transition year. This was back in like November. I was like, this year's going to be a transition year. I may make as much as last year. I probably won't, but it's okay because I'm transitioning. I'm changing markets. I'm moving to a new place. So for this year, I told myself, if my needs are met, if my bills are paid, if I have food on the table, that is success. That will be my success for this year. It doesn't have to be a growth year. Yeah. It's just, am I providing for my family and meeting my basic needs? Then that is also success. And that was like one of the main mind shifts that when all this started, like you have a few months savings too. So at the like day-to-day immediacy, I'm like, okay, today I have everything met. That's okay. I don't need to worry about problems that haven't hit me just yet if they aren't in front of me. So how can I just work on solutions as opposed to dwelling on what I don't have at the moment?
Yeah. Well, it's, I mean, I guess I know I am in such a privileged spot because yes, if I'm still like, I'm like Kimberly, like I said, I'm not gonna be homeless. And also like I've got health insurance, I've got
Yeah,
through my husband, stuff like that. Like I
that's
see other
awesome.
people that are in, that are small business owners, maybe both people in the couple are, or they're both in this industry. And that's just blowing my mind right now.
Oh,
Like
man, I feel
how are you
it's
putting
so
on a
heavy.
happy face every morning, and how are you functioning if you're both in this industry, or just are you a single person in this industry right now?
Yeah.
That would scare the living
And
shit
the
out of
hardest
me.
thing too is so many like counties like Maui. I talk to my friends all the time, and like the unemployment office hasn't sent out checks to anybody yet. Like no one's
Yeah.
gotten any money yet. And aside from the wedding industry pros, all my friends that work in all the hotels and all the restaurants, no one has a job right now.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, it's wild.
It's
And
crazy.
I'm very fortunate that I do have savings, but like for people to like start freaking out like 2 weeks into this thing about cash, like it just
Yeah.
shows that we are in the minority by having savings. A lot of people don't have that to rely on.
Which then kind of segues into like, once everyone does get cooking again, like this experience for me has completely changed my relationship with money.
Mm.
I think it has for everybody, but you
Maybe we
know,
will go back to the barter system.
I mean, I traded yesterday a jar of peanut butter for a bag of broccoli with my neighbor, so I mean, it was kind of amazing.
Oh,
That
peanut
is
butter
amazing.
one for
But
sure.
it was basically like, okay, so I don't need this new shirt or I
Yeah.
don't need this new outfit today. I don't need
Yeah.
this. Like, so for me, once we come out of this side, I'm really going to be cutting things down to like, is this a necessity for either my business or my immediate well being? And if it's not, that money goes right into savings. Is
I agree 100% with
Yeah.
that
I'm
because,
like,
yeah,
yeah. No,
like
it's
in
like,
the whole like cutting expenses thing, I'm
Yeah,
like, why am I paying this? Like, why am I paying, and I'm notorious for like, if it's a small amount and it's monthly, I just don't even think about it, to be
right.
honest. Like, oh, that's just a $15 a month thing that hits my account every single month and I just never
Yeah.
think about it. Like, that's terrible, I realize. But now I'm like, why am I doing that? Like, that is
Mhm.
stupid.
Does it really serve a purpose? My wife and I are reading this new minimalism book, and just I want to embrace it so bad because I'm such a maximalist. But I want to just like minimize. Does this bring me joy and use? And if no, then I don't need it, and I don't need to consume it, and I don't need to buy
Well,
it.
another thing that's also in my rabbit hole on Friday night, rabbit hole of doom.
I've had
It,
3 of those. Don't worry.
I also
Can we
was
trademark
well,
that rabbit hole of doom?
well,
Done.
also
Memoir.
being service, we're service and service industry, and a lot of time we are taking over jobs for people because they don't have time. But now people
Mm.
have time, so I'm like, now people have time. So why are they going to pay me to do a service? So that's another thing
Well, they
that
have
scared me.
time, but this isn't their
They're-
specialty, and this
right?
isn't
Yeah.
like, and the thing is, their time has to be spent on their pivot,
But
and
Annie, also, yeah, people have time, but they're also like you homeschooling. So do
Yeah.
they
yeah,
really have
Yeah.
time?
they don't
You
have
Yeah.
time.
know,
We have no
they
Maybe
don't
they
have
have.
time.
Yeah. I don't. I mean, like I mean, people are like, I don't have time during the week, but on the weekends it's hard. It's like, what am I gonna do all Saturday and Sunday? Like,
I asked my kids yesterday at dinner. I was like, "What was different today than yesterday?"
What was
yeah.
the answer? Was it even an answer?
Same. No.
Mhm.
Well, we had ice cream today, Dad. I did an ice cream dinner one night. Just like, all right, guys, ice cream dinner.
That's
That's good.
amazing.
Yeah.
Had to just change it up, but keep morale high is key right
Yeah.
now.
That's another thing. It's like, God, this like, why do people in my house want 3 meals a day? Like, I could survive off of two. I'm fine. Why do I have to like all these dishes? Ugh,
It's
it's
wild. But I
awful.
think too, it's like in this time, it's how can we convert this fear that we all have into our ally? And I know it's hard, and I hate to be like cliche, but I mean it's true. Like our fears are we're not gonna pay our bills, we're not going to provide for our family, we're gonna lose our station of how hard we've worked to achieve the things that we have in our life. But it's again, it's just boiling down to taking those fears and say, okay, how can I make, because we are coming out of this, guaranteed. I've booked jobs for November. Hopefully, it's everything is still up in the air, but I have been booking for end of the year. I have been having replacements. We are opened up for smaller weddings now. Like things are starting to happen. So we all are going to get back to work, and that's the light at the end of the tunnel. But it's how we take that fear that just happened over these last 3 weeks, month, and in ensuring that we can always use that as one of our, again, back to our core motivators to make sure we're always saving money. We're always like, having some things that are a little extra for us, but how do we maintain not only our current like happiness, but how are we going to always be preparing from here on out for when this may happen again in the future, which I hope it never does, but you never know. It could be this, It could be something else. We never know.
Well, I was just in the like thought process of like expenses. I was just telling my husband over the weekend, I was like, this makes me like I have an office and I love it. Like I love my office and I really got it because I wanted clients to come to me and have a space. And now I'm like, I feel like I still want that, but I could minimize the amount of space I have by a lot. Like I could really have just a meeting space and not need a space to actually do work during the day. Like I could cut that expense down by a lot and not go from having an office to not, but from having as much space as I have to something that's smaller and less expensive. Like I this would never have really entertained it much. I mean, I would have like kind of thought about it and I was kind of thinking about it. Like, do I need all this? But now I'm like, nope, I sure don't, because I've been working at my house for a month and still have been productive. Yeah. So,
but I never ever want to work in my house ever again.
But I also feel like, Annie, that's a good thing to know. You know what I mean? Like, had you not like been forced into this, you might not have been like
freaking tired of this coral color wall color in the guest bedroom. Like I'm about to get a paintbrush and paint my own mural. Like
my guest bedroom is like poop brown, and I had no idea until I sat in it every single day. Like legit, it is poop brown, and I'm like, I need to repaint this, but I'm not allowing contractors in my house because coronavirus, so it's just gonna have to stay for a while, and it sucks because it literally is poop brown.
Maybe you could order some wallpaper and just get some wallpaper going.
I need just like a green screen, so anytime I'm on a Zoom call, you can see that. Been using those virtual backgrounds a lot.
I do like those too. But I think it's just one of these incredible times, and it's like, never, I pray that we never go through something like this again, but this is one of these generational defining events. And it is scary, and there's so much unknown, but
it scares me too. I also have a fear of change. I like that. I think that was my biggest fear as a kid. I hated change. I think it was in Wayne's World. It's like, we fear change. That I just know coming out of this, like our industry is going to be changed. I mean, the whole world is going to be changed. Yeah. And that kind of scares me too.
I mean, I feel like the changes are going to be like,
they could be good changes. Who knows? But I'm the
we're not going to be
here.
doing 200 person events. We'll be doing 50 person events. We'll be doing 20. We'll be doing elopements. There's still ways to provide luxury, and there's still 100% going to be avenues for us all to thrive in this business, just with thinking a little differently. For me, and that was one of the cool things about Hawaii, is I've serviced so many intimate events. Like a big wedding for me in Hawaii is like 40 people, like, because it's been all destination events. So for me, I'm already used to small scale things. At Haiku Mill, where I work a lot, I've done countless where it's just like,
we're in Texas, we're 40 people. That's like a Thursday night dinner. Like, like a wedding where we do it big here in Texas. So it's going to be a very different
things are going to be different, but I think there 100. I know for sure love is not canceled. Celebrations are not canceled. Togetherness is not, it's on hold.
And there's no expiration date on a wedding, so you can always postpone it.
For sure. So like one of the things we're doing, like I'm pivoting right now with my friend, and we're going to be doing sort of like enhanced, we'll call them engagement pluses, where if they can't do the wedding this year, well, then we can do this very special engagement shoot, but they can bring their vows and we'll webcast it to their friends and family. So we're going to be able to be offering some different products and upgrades that are going to provide family togetherness, whether like virtually even, but all sorts of different ideas where we can bring even more people together. They might not be there in person, but more people will be coming together than ever before.
I have friends that they were getting married, I think 2 weekends ago, and now they decided they've moved it, so they're gonna have now a big. It's not they got like they did a small wedding together, and then they're doing like it'll be their first anniversary, and they're doing a big old first anniversary party in
Oh,
Seaside,
that's fun.
Totally.
in Florida, like a big trip for all their family and friends. Well, that was kind of a cool idea, but
That was a cool idea.
yeah.
I mean, I also feel like even if there's like smaller weddings in the short term, there's no part of me that believes big weddings are not going to be a thing again.
Yeah, definitely.
And like, there's just no part of me that's like, this
Well,
is forever.
I mean,
and so it's like putting yourself in a place where it's like you're still an established business and still around for when things go back.
Oh,
to
if I was getting
more
married right
normal.
now, and I was getting married next year, I mean, I'd invite like my favorite waiter. I would invite the barista. I would invite my gym instructor. Like everybody, you're coming to my wedding now because
we're gonna
celebrate.
We're gonna pop. As soon as that vaccine hits and things like we can safely gather in numbers, like it's gonna be crazy. I mean, roaring 20s or more like 20s, but roaring 21, like it's gonna be. People are like, that's the biggest thing I realize is I've always been an extrovert and I love people, but being forced into this sort of situation now, I'm so grateful, so much more grateful than I've ever been in my whole life for just being with people and togetherness. And even just the word together is like a luxury to me now.
Yeah. And I am an introvert and hate people, but like as soon as this is over, like I will be partying again with every single person
every networking event ever.
Yes.
Every single person I've ever said no to. I'm so sorry. I will always say yes now because get me out of this coral room, please.
Right. I think that was Pantone Color of the Year a couple years ago, though. So
well, they lied because it's making me vomit.
Nice.
Oh gosh.
But I know that we're gonna get through this. I'm seeing light. I've received some deposits for end of the year things. So I'm just trying, to roll with the punches and count my blessings and really just pray for all my fellow friends every day.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also think too, again, Annie, I'm going to get a little woo-woo on you. It's that attitude of gratitude, as they say, and like being grateful for the fact that you are like, I have savings and I have a roof over my head, when there's so many people who just like can't even say that.
Yeah. I need to stop complaining.
It's easy to forget. I mean, I'm the worst about like feeling sorry for myself because it's so easy to forget.
No, we're so grateful. I mean, we're healthy, and at the moment, we cover our things, and that right now, this is a luxury. I mean, we get to ride this out in our houses, and being relatively.
Some people don't have houses.
I know it's wild, and it's like I know so many of us are driven to like, how can we help? But like the best thing we can do to help is just stay home, which is like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
truth.
Chris,
this has been really great. Annie, this has been a good psychology experiment for all of us.
Yes, no. I thank you for listening to me and my my troubles.
I think everyone listening, like if you are in the wedding industry right now, there is some level of fear of some sort, and anyone who's like, I have no fears at all right now is lying. They're lying.
They're drunk.
Let's be honest.
Yeah. They're drunk.
Or they're drinking too much wine.
But use this time. I think my best advice to like all of us wedding pros is take this time, this pause, this reset to dive deep into your core values as your brand. Like what is it that what truly matters to you, and how can you convey that to the world at large? And that is what is gonna drive that traffic back to you when we come out of this. If every bit of from your website to your emails to your communication to just everything is 100% core and authentic to who you are, then I think everyone who can maintain that is going to come out of this just really thriving again. And because we have to, I mean, we've all worked so hard that it's not going to just disappear.
Yeah. And I also think, I mean, it's sad to say, but like, it's going to our industry is going to change a lot, where it's going to be I mean, there's going to be some businesses that don't survive, unfortunately, and there's going to be a lot. There was a lot of times. Oh, I want to be an event planner. It's going to be so fun. I think it's going to be people are going to think twice before joining our industry.
which I mean that's
weed out the weak.
And that's how it goes in every. That's how it goes
Yeah.
in every industry, and those that do lose businesses, guaranteed, we are a resilient bunch. We fight hard and we love what we do. So even if people do lose their businesses in a year, when things get back to normal, they're going to be able to get things going again. And they're 100% going to be able to get back on their feet and come out of this. It's just because we work so hard in this business and we love what we do. And it's just, as soon as the business is there, I know for sure in my heart that anyone who does lose a business during this time will be able to come back and make it work at some point.
Yeah.
Chris, you're the positivity king.
Yeah.
I love it.
Oh, I have no other choice right now.
Except ice cream for dinner.
Yes. Maybe tacos and margaritas again tonight. I don't know.
Tacos, margaritas, ice cream. That's my love language these days, guys.
Chris, thank you so much for joining us.
This
has been really good. I feel like, it's interesting because I feel like the first 2 weeks of the situation, at least for me, like in my business, was just like scramble to move things and whatever. Now it's like, okay, this is real life. Now it's like settled, like sinking in.
And those first 2 weeks, like I was so just like paranoid, or just like I wasn't like focused. Like I was just like totally into like social media, looking at the news, seeing what's happening, and I was not really paying attention to me, or my business that much. I mean, I was answering emails, but I just was so unfocused. But now it's like it's time
like
to
this
really
is real life.
Yeah, I need to like dig in deep to focus on my business, focus on my core. Like I emailed Shannon Skloss about like what I want to learn photography, like what if I could do what was the best camera to do just for flat lace, like just like little things like that I've wanted to learn how to do. So now's the time to work on the business.
See, like you're pivoting already.
Quit complaining.
You're gonna be my second shooter in no time.
Oh Lord.
Keep doing
I'm just waiting for the Zoom comedy hour.
You'll get your camera back. There's like just a bunch of selfies of me. That's it.
Rabbit Hole of Doom. That's your special. We got it.
That should be the name of your comedy channel. Rabbit Hole of Doom.
Rabbit Hole of Doom.
Yeah. RHOD.com.
I love it. Well, Chris, thanks again. This has been super fun, and I'm sure people listening can relate to everything that we're talking about.
Well, if anyone wants to email me anything, my website's chrisjevans.com, and my Instagram's chrisjevans.photo, and I just love to do whatever I can to help inspire or motivate or answer any questions on this business. I'm always here for anybody, so please reach out.
Awesome. And we'll link to all that in our show notes online, so you can find it. Cool. Thanks, Chris.
My pleasure, girls. I can't wait to gather with you guys again soon.
Yes.
In real life.
We'll see you in 18 months.
That's right.
Stop it, Annie Roach.